Alright, it's Sunday. I'm going to try and get some sheet metal on the front. So, get some stuff, get these fenders on. I painted my hoods, blasted and painted my hood hinges and springs. Get some stuff off the floor and get it all lined up. A little bit of visual progress. Cheers. So got the fenders on and one hood hinge. And Cracky's give us a hand, and we're going to show you guys how to, or a cool way that I found, it's not my idea, of how to put the springs on the hinge without dying. So we got this hook off the ratchet strap through the spring and then to the bottom of the jack, and then this one is going to go through the eyelet of the hook and then onto the jack. Then we should just be able to crank it up and separate them. Not going to work?
Keep going, yeah, it's going to work. Just going to set that there.
Yeah, that's gonna. There it is.
There we go. Nice and slow, and it should seat. Yeah. Alright. There you go. Get an angle on it.
No gingers were harmed in the making of this.
Okay. Yeah.
Alright, so this is the figuring out of the valance to come and match the bumper now. Obviously from shortening the bumper, it's not going to jive. And these mounting holes are, that one's on, following ones are off, and that should be the center one. So I'm going to try and take one cut out of this to compensate for both sides of this, and see if we can get it to fit, because it should fit up in this area here where it rolls, and then I've got it going on here, so I need to close that up. Okay, so I've got the sections that I wanted taken out. I'm just going to throw a couple tacks in here, and then I can pull it all off and take it together. Okay, so it's a weeknight. I was able to make it home early enough to warrant being able to get out here and do some stuff. It's warm too, it's like 70 degrees. So, got the panel sectioned out and tacked together. I just had it on the bumper, just trying to sort of get it to fit better. I think I'm pretty happy with it, so I'm probably just going to tinker with it a little more and tweak it and get it a bit more flat. And then throw a couple more tacks on it and see how we go. Cheers. Alright, so just a little bit of hammer and dolly work. These weren't actually lined up as good as I thought, but now I think they're following along pretty nice. So it's still a little flatter in the centerpiece is still flatter, where this panel gets more of a roll in it as it goes outward from the center, and obviously because that's the dead center and I removed some from either side of the center, I lost a little bit of that, I guess it's vertical if it was on the car, that vertical curve. And then if I wheel it just a little bit lightly, it might just return that crown. So I just noticed a little low spot here when I was sanding, because the primer here didn't come off before this side, so because it's really nice here. And then it falls off down inside. This edge is looking good, but it's just this one here. So Gonna just work that a little more, get it as flat as I can. Alright, so here's the, this is the one here. It's just that tack was holding a little high, so it seems to be, feels a lot better now. So I'm going to get the TIG out and get this a little more permanent. Alright, just had to stop and start, take my time with this. But that's it's all welded in now. So gonna just try and knock the top off it, and then start trying to planish it out from the backside and get that curve back going in there. Alright, cheers. Alright, and there it is. I think that looks pretty good. So most of that was just dollying on the back, just planishing these out to get them high enough to be able to grind down without taking too much out of the panel itself. So that's that. So I'm going to throw it back on the bumper. Cheers. Alright, so it's a rainy Saturday, and pulled the nose out. I'm going to strip it down and get ready to start fixing some of the little things. There's a crack along here somewhere. There's like a crack here. It's all in all pretty good shape. The corners here sort of a little nicked. So I can't blast this because it's fiberglass. So I guess I'm just gonna really get in there with some Scotch-Brite and get it stripped down as much as I can and clean it really good with a bunch of prep. So if I can get this thing all tore down and in primer, that'll be a good little accomplishment. Alright, cheers. Alright, got this all washed and dried off and clean. It's nice to see the color again, actually clean. That said, I'm still not completely sold on what color I'm going to paint it. I definitely want to do it gold, but probably not this Queasel gold. Something a little darker, a little richer. But anyway, so I'm going to just Scotch-Brite the whole thing as best I can, and then start looking at how to sort of finish out some of these little nicks and stuff. Well, for the most part, it's really good, so I don't think it'll be too much work. I got to find out if I can get these reproduction, these little rubber, I guess they're like headlight isolators. I don't know if they're specific to this type of thing, or if, you know, they're the same on a lot of these type of noses. So I'll have to look into that, because it'd be nice to be able to drill those rivets out and put new ones in, just for finishing it and painting it and stuff. Obviously the factory just painted over, but they did all that when it was all assembled, so I get that. So anyway, get this all scuffed down. Cheers. Okay, just been scuffing this down. Takes a lot of work to get all this down and around these edges and stuff. This was one of the cracks. It almost goes through to the other side, so I just hogged it out a little bit with the a little Scotch-Brite disc, made it a little lower. So I'm going to mix up some Dynagloss and this is the other one, which is right on the top here, right by the edge of the hood. So same thing, I just sort of hogged out. This crack goes all the way through, so I just made it low, and I'm going to Dynaglass the top of that and the back side of it, and see how it goes. But you can tell this side is pretty well scuffed. I haven't touched this side yet, still got the sheen. But slow going, but getting there. So I'll mix some of this stuff up and spread it in there. Cheers. Alright, so I got my first round of Duraglass on. Just sort of roughed it out in there, rebuilt this edge a little bit so where the chips work. Because the bumper comes up and covers this far in here, and I think this is cracked from the bumper hitting. And then this piece here, I got that smoothed in, and then I put a little bit extra up under the backside just to support it. It's not going to matter, it's never going to be seen. So I think there's so many tiny little chips and stone chips and stuff, like so many little of these type chips, that I think I'm just going to wipe the whole thing with filler and then sand the whole thing. I think that's going to be the easiest way to get it even. So I'll mix some of that up and I'll give it a shot. Alright, so I got the first coat of filler sanded down, and then came through and marked a bunch of other little stone chips. I think I'm going to try and do those with glaze, and that's pretty much it. There's some more road rash ones there, so I'll get that in, but otherwise everything else is looking good. I feel like I'm probably like at least 6 hours, maybe 7. Shit, could be 8. It's taking forever. Alright, well, it's Sunday evening. I'm easily 12 hours into this thing. It's just, there's not a single flat surface on it. It's just, everything's a curve and everything's a bump. Feeling pretty good about all the stone chips and stuff. We got all that filled. A couple of the cracks. So it's now got a little bit of Duraglass on the big heavy cracks, and then some Rage Gold over the majority of it, and then the blue is the glazing putty, just to fill in some pinholes, and it's starting to feel really good. It's just so much work. There's just so many turns and curves, and you know, none of the sanding blocks or anything will fit into it. So, but this side's feeling good. I'm really happy with it. I still haven't got to this side yet. This is where I put a couple wipes of the glazing putty on to fill some other pinholes and chips. So I was hoping to get those done today, but it doesn't look like it. So fingers crossed next Saturday I can get that sanded, and then this in primer and on the car. And then I only have 2 pieces left to put on it, and the car is a whole thing, which would be the bumper and the lower valance. So it's progress at least, and I've made an absolute mess of everything. I've just got crap everywhere. Feel pretty bad about that. So hopefully 1 week this night, if I can get here soon enough and get cleaned up. Otherwise Friday night or something. But hopefully this is enough to do a bit of an update. I was hoping to have this in primer before a real update, but that's how it goes. So anyways, thanks for everyone checking out. I really appreciate everyone watching and stuff, and it's cool. Thanks a lot. Alright, cheers.